This week's spelling lesson is on Greek and Latin roots. Your cue words are roots, language of origin, importance, and 5 familiar roots. Roots are words that do not have a prefix at the front or a suffix at the end, otherwise known as base words. They often supply the basic meaning of a word. A word's language of origin refers to the country wherein a word first developed. So if the word was first used in France, then the language of origin is French. We know the language of origin of a word based on the first time we can find a writing that used that word. So it may have been used beforehand or picked up from somewhere else, but it wasn't ever used in writing prior to that point. The reason you should know roots is because 1, languages of origin often impact the spelling through phonetics. French words have a certain phonetic code, the way you sound them out, the way you pronounce them. So do German words, so do Latin words, so on and so forth. So if you know the language of origin from a word, then you can become familiar with the way those sounds fit together and how that word would be spelled. Roots often also have a standard spelling component or standard variations. So if you know and recognize that root word, then you know the ways it could be spelled in and of itself. In short, it's important to know root words because knowing the root gives you clues on how to spell the word. Greek and Latin form the basis of many English words. They are one of the biggest contributors to the English language. Because of this, they have many, many, many roots that we still use in everyday speech. Here are 5 Greek and Latin roots and their meanings that you guys should be familiar with. Graph, which means writing. Therm, which means heat or temperature. Struct, which means build. Phone, phono or phone, sound or voice. Socio, which means companion or friend. Now, I want you to take the time to practice. Using your own knowledge, write 2 words that use each of the familiar roots. Or rather, write 2 words that for each of these familiar roots. So 2 words for graph, 2 words for struct, so on and so forth. In addition to writing those words, I want you to tell me how that word's meaning comes from its root word. So, for example, if you pick the word telephone, you can't use my example, so you have to come up with something else now. Telephone is an invention that relays sound between one place and the other. So the invention itself is relaying sound or carrying voices, and that's how the base word relates to the definition, the root word. Remember, you may not use my example. Come up with 2 words for each root on your own and tell me how that root meaning contributes to the word's definition. When you are finished, go ahead and use the answer key in the assignment comments on this video. So the video assignment itself, the one that popped up on your Edmodo page and said, hey, watch me, take notes. There's a comment underneath that assignment and it has an answer key. Your answers do not have to be the exact same as mine. You will still get credit for the practice. I will be looking for you having provided 2 words and you explaining how those words' meanings are there. You will get points. This will be where I take your note points from, in addition to using the Cornell structure. Your answers need to be in your notes, so I'm taking a grade on that part. But you'll get a grade as long as it meets those 3 requirements, those 2 requirements. 2 words, and you explain how the root shows the meaning. However, that being said, the answers that I give you in the key will be the ones that also go on the quiz. So it should be something you'd want to go and look at because it'll be helpful for you to have them in your notes. Remember to rewind and review if you need to. Take the practice quiz. Have your notes ready for class.